Welcome to the Repair Don't Waste podcast, where today we'll be taking a deep dive into the truth, busting the myths surrounding electronic repairs in the industry. Today is International Repair Day, a day to celebrate the art of repair and highlight the issues that have been growing beneath the surface. Our increased dependence on electronics in some of the most critical industries: defense, automotive, aviation, rail, energy, and semiconductor manufacturing. Over the past 20 years, we've seen these sectors transition from mechanical systems to highly automated and complex electronic setups. And while the technology boom has unlocked new possibilities, it has also created a throwaway society of e-waste, where companies are convinced it's cheaper and easier to replace equipment rather than repair it, an idea heavily sold by manufacturers eager to push the latest equipment. But there's a catch. More electronics means more reliance on OEMs, original equipment manufacturers. And with obsolescence now an unavoidable reality, businesses are left stranded when parts are no longer in production, forcing them to undertake costly, unnecessary upgrades of entire systems or buy new machines just to stay afloat. That wasn't a problem in the past, when mechanical parts could be easily fabricated on demand. The global pandemic made companies realise this, and as they took a hard look at their maintenance budgets and realised just how much money was being wasted on unnecessary replacements. Yet despite this shift, another challenge has become apparent. Skilled repair technicians, who know how to troubleshoot and repair electronics, are retiring or leaving the industry, and a lack of formal education options mean fewer younger engineers are being trained as replacements. With fewer hands in the repair game, misinformation has been spreading. Myths have been growing about the risks and viability of repair, creating a stigma around the idea that repairing is unreliable or impractical. But these myths couldn't be further from the truth, and we're here to set the record straight. In today's episode, we'll unpack the state of electronic repairs across the industries, expose the myths, and explore the emerging technologies shaping the future of maintenance. Repair isn't just possible, it's essential, and it's time to challenge outdated thinking and equip industries with the tools and knowledge to embrace repair culture once again. I'm here with Willian Santos from ABI Electronics, who's been fighting these stigmas on electronic repair for the last 20 years. Welcome, Willian. How are you?
Hey Ben, thanks for your brilliant introduction. For this year's International Repair Day, I have put together here a list of 13 myths that, we get to hear a lot from different types of organizations. And we can actually see that they believe in these myths because, mostly OEMs have been telling them that this is the case, that they should believe in these points that we're going to go through. So myth number 1, it's cheaper to replace than repair. Now, it isn't, because obviously if you are replacing rather than repairing, basically the only thing you're doing, you're just obviously throwing more money at spare parts. You're not learning anything, first of all. So there could be some short-term gains, but actually you get long-term pains from this decision. You're not learning anything. You're just replacing parts. You don't know why the parts are failing in the first place. So really, it is not about just the like-for-like cost. You need to think about how replacing is basically not helping your technical team to understand the faults, what's causing the faults, improve the machine's durability or the product's overall durability as well. Now, when you have the in-house repair capabilities, you will be able to repair much faster, which obviously saves time and also, reduce a lot of costs. So a repaired PCB compared to buying new, we're talking about 90% of cost difference. So it's 90% cheaper to repair compared to buying new. So for long-term gains, choose repair, not replace. Myth number 2, repairing is too slow and delays operations. Now, when something stops working, obviously you need to have a spare part ready to go. But then what happens to the faulty equipment or faulty circuit board that we removed from the equipment is critical. If you were just going to be sending away for repair, it might take 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, depends on the company, to have that system repaired and sent back to you. And what we have seen from working with many companies across the last 20 years, repair the waste members and so forth, is that you can actually repair circuit boards to the correct standard in just under 10 minutes. So it's not really a matter of time. You definitely need to have spare parts ready to go so that the machine can continue to operate, but then you need to have the support of a local repair. If you were investing in creating this local repair facility, you're going to be reducing a lot of emissions and reducing costs and improving your operation effectiveness as well. Now, myth number 3, repairing old electronics isn't worth it because they're outdated. So this is just the discussions that we've had recently on LinkedIn as well. It's outdated. Why are we bothered about it? There are 2 points to this myth here. First of all, there's a lot, especially the new generation, when they look at, a picture of a circuit board from the latest fighter jet, they might think that it's an old technology. So looks can be deceiving, right? It's not because something looks old that it is, in fact, old. And then when you're talking about the defense sector, for instance, when programs can last, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, yes, it might eventually look old, at some point in the future. But that old piece of electronics is incredibly dependable. It needs to be kept in operation for as long as possible. So yes, it is definitely worth it repairing electronics, even if they look old or even if they are from a legacy equipment, legacy program, because we never know how long or when the program is going to be extended and how long the program is going to be extended for. But what we do know, especially from working in this industry for so long, is that the programs will inevitably be extended, and if you haven't repaired the spare parts that you once had, they will have vanished. Myth number 4, only the original manufacturer can do quality repairs. Well, we wish that was the case, but that's not the case, unfortunately. Many OEMs have lost the capability, the capacity to repair, and we have seen OEMs bringing former employees from retirement to help them repair. So it is how critical the situation is at the moment. So now anyone who's got the right training, the right troubleshooting equipment, the right rework systems as well, have obviously the IPC training, and they obviously know what they're doing, can produce a very solid, high quality repair. Okay, so it's not just the OEMs can do that. Myth number 5, repairing electronics isn't environmentally friendly. Now, I understand this point here. There's a lot of greenwashing happening in our industry currently. People preaching sustainability but throwing away circuit boards, for instance, and thinking that sustainability is all about having solar panels on their rooftops and pictures taken with drones and put on the website. And some are critical about electronics, thinking that it's not as environmentally friendly as we make it sound. But in reality, when you're repairing a circuit board, especially if you have an operation that is close to the point of use, you are reducing emissions by over 85%. Because think about it, is removing a piece of hardware that obviously required a lot of resources to be manufactured in the first place, and having that shipped halfway across the world in some cases. Yeah, so it all adds to the problem and eventually gets to the OEM. And if the OEM doesn't have a very good or a third-party supplier, and if that third-party supplier doesn't have a very stringent troubleshooting process, you know what's going to happen? No fault found. And in many industries, if you have no fault found, eventually that piece of equipment that got returned eventually gets destroyed, gets scrapped, which is madness. So it's all about having the capabilities to do as much troubleshooting as possible close to the point of use. Myth number 6, repairs won't last as long as replacements. Well, people tend to ignore the fact that circuit boards have weaknesses. They all do. So if you are replacing like for like, guess what? The same weaknesses that were present on day one when you bought the system and took delivery of that equipment, the same weakness will be there in a year's time, in 2 years' time, causing the fault again. So durability is not related to the age of the PCB, how new that PCB is, but it's how it's being maintained, how it's being operated. So this is an incredibly important point. I can mention one case involving a big Spanish train manufacturer that had an ATC ECU card failing every 2 months, and they didn't know what was going on, and replacing the cards were not resolving the issue. So it was only when they invested in the right equipment, which happened to be the board master from ABI Electronics, and utilized the system, they identified the real issue, which was a communication IC that wasn't robust enough for that operation. So it was failing within 2 months in that scenario. So once they have identified the issue and upgraded the design to a more robust communication IC, guess what? No more problems ever. So there's a big chance here, big opportunity to improve reliability by investing in developing the capabilities for in-house repairs. Myth number 7, repairs void the warranty. Now, I think this is part of a bigger discussion that we need to have between users and OEMs. I have seen, many circumstances where there's so much risk aversion, and no one wants to touch a piece of hardware. They just want to send it back to the OEM because they don't want to get in trouble with the OEM, and OEMs are getting away by imposing in contracts that if you open the box, if you even look at the PCB that inside of my LRU, in case of aviation, for instance, a line replaceable unit, well, the warranty will be void. So I think the buyers, they need to understand that this is not acceptable. If we're really serious about reducing e-waste, we can't simply accept this level of risk aversion. We can't accept this sort of practice being imposed over by OEMs. And they go further. If you open the box, if you change anything on the circuit board, then you're going to be breaking the IP. That's going to be an IP infringement. And how can we accept this? Just like you have in a car, and then the car needs new brake pads, and you use an aftermarket brake pad that meets all these specifications, and then the manufacturer says, your warranty is now void. This is what's happening at the level of circuit boards, and it needs to be challenged, in my opinion. Myth number 8: repairing electronics isn't safe. Well, it isn't safe if you don't know what you're doing, if you haven't been trained properly. As I mentioned, previously, it's all about being trained, and this is very important. You need to understand how components work. You need to understand what to do when they don't work, and all the different tools that you have at your disposal to execute the repair at the correct standard. There is an organization called IPC, where the standards are made available to anyone who wants to run professional repair operations. So if you're interested, have a look online. You can come to repair.waste.com, and we have a Learn tab, and the standards are there available for you. Myth number 9: it's too hard to find replacement parts. Well, this is true in some cases, but it's all about planning, right? So the sooner you start repairing, the sooner you start investing in an in-house repair operation, the fewer will be the cases where this becomes a problem, because you will know in advance. You'll be able to plan in advance. So it's all really about planning in advance, and building that capability, understanding what the alternative parts are as well. I think it's incredibly important that companies see repair as a first line of defense against obsolescence. If you're struggling to find parts, it's because obviously your obsolescence management system is not working properly, or you're thinking about obsolescence management too late accelerating the game. So repair, obsolescence management, they go hand in hand, and they should be implemented from the moment that the project starts. The program starts, the equipment gets delivered. That's when you should be thinking about how we're going to be doing repair, managing obsolescence management, and so on. Myth number 10. Only highly trained specialists can perform repairs, which is obviously similar to one of the previous myths, saying that only OEMs can do quality repairs. And as I mentioned, it's all about training, and we need to really get the academia sector paying attention to this point as well. We have seen many technicians and engineers leaving schools and graduating without ever touching circuit boards, ever touching measurement instrumentation. And obviously they come to industry, they come to the workplace, and they really don't know how to help in this circumstance. And this is something that this is a point that gets talked about a lot, that you need to be very, very specialized in order to do troubleshooting and repair. The more specialized you are, the better you get at it. So it's true that obviously you need to spend the time to learn the trade and learn the ins and outs, develop that forensic mindset. But anyone who wants to learn, and I would really encourage people to learn electronics repair and maintenance. You can do it, and you can be really successful, and you're going to be helping the environment as well. Myth number 11. Repairing electronics doesn't improve performance. And it's just like my example that I mentioned with regards to the Spanish train manufacturer. This is just another myth. You can definitely improve durability, you can improve longevity of a circuit board, and as a result, the entire system, which could be a radar system, could be avionics, it could be a wind turbine, it could be a robotic system in the automotive assembly line. So all those systems can be kept in operation for longer, reducing the overall ownership cost by investing, by having their parts repaired and improved, so that they can last longer. Myth number 12, repairs don't matter in a fast-paced industry. Yeah, so this is something that we're hearing a lot. It's all about, time is money. But as I said at the beginning, yes, you need to have, a stock of spare parts, ideally, if you have planned well. If you have trained technicians, if you have test flows, you have a board master, you have the equipment, you have the instructions, and so forth. All this becomes irrelevant because you will be able to maintain that inventory of spare parts independently and very, very quickly, right? So rather than waiting months and months and paying a small fortune for repairs, you can do yourself very quickly. We had one of our customers coming to ABI not long ago. It was the Royal Bahrain Air Force, and they mentioned about their piece of equipment having a fault. And they suspected what the fault was, but they weren't very sure. So they sent that piece of equipment back to the OEM in America. The OEM said, right, okay, so it's going to take 9 months for us to get this back to you, and it's going to cost $15,000. And if you want to have the system turned around in 6 months, then there's going to be a premium on top. Well, the Bahrain Air Force decided not to proceed with the repair, requested for the equipment to be sent back to them. On the same day, they managed to locate the faulty capacitor that failed. That faulty capacitor could be easily acquired in the the local market and replaced on the board, and the overall cost was only 15 cents. So from $15,000 to 15 cents, and the repair got done on the same day. Finally, myth number 13, old electronics are less energy efficient. And this is what we're hearing a lot about from different industry players, from different sectors as well. And I was just a few weeks ago at InnoTrans in Berlin, and attending, participating in one of the roundtables on circular economy and sustainability. And after the event, I was approached by a procurement officer from a large European rail operator. And that person told me, look, you come to these events, it's really frustrating when you come to events like this. And the only thing you hear from OEMs is that in order for you to become sustainable and achieve net zero, you need to invest in the latest, most modern, most advanced piece of equipment. And if you don't do that, you'll never become truly sustainable. And that railway operator told me, this is madness. What we really need is the ability to keep the good equipment that we already have going for as long as possible, because the most sustainable equipment is the one that already exists. So we need to really have a think about this point. And he also mentioned that there is no money to buy the latest, the most modern, and this is a huge operation with hundreds and hundreds of trains and so forth, transporting millions of passengers, but it's not a very lucrative business, as we all know. So they are under pressure. And they are being told that they need to invest in the latest in order to achieve sustainability. So this is not true. I totally agree that you need to keep what you have going for as long as possible, because there's a lot of excellent innovation that have been implemented in the last 15 to 20 years, and there's a lot of life left in them.
So there you have it. 13 myths about repair debunked. Repair isn't just a matter of fixing what's broken. It's about sustainability, cost savings, and independence from restrictive OEM practices. As we leave here today, I encourage you to think about how you can implement repair strategies in your operations. Building in-house repair capabilities, training technicians, and planning for obsolescence aren't just good business. They're essential for a sustainable future. Thank you, and let's continue to repair, rethink, and rebuild for a better tomorrow. Happy Repair Day.